I viewed the world as cruel and very broken. I felt like I was walking alone, and I felt like I lived in a world that took away but never gave. I was always the girl that was smiling, that had it all together, even though I was falling apart inside. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. We learned very early on that we didn't talk about the things that happened at home. So I learned at a really young age how to mask my pain, how to mask the trauma that was happening. You know, I was young when I was sexually abused by my uncle. That went on for 10 years. When you've experienced that at such a young age, you think that you are destined for this thing, and you think that you are a victim to this kind of behavior for the rest of your life. Sharing my story brought a lot of shame to my family. It brought a lot of shame to the church. And instead of taking me in, they pushed me out. And that led for me to being homeless, and then being on drugs, and then being even more alone, even though like I was raised and grew up in this really, really cold world. And so the things that happened to you that I had no control over, and then I shared that, and it completely like exposed myself, and then it pushed me more into this really, really cold world. My turning point applying to Mercy is when I had a drug overdose, and I was in a hospital room, and I was just like, man, why am I still here? I had gone through so much at that point in my life that I didn't want to be here, but yet I was still alive. I wanted to let go, but there was something in me that really still wanted to just live. It was at one point that I was really fighting for my life, and I'll never forget that I sent an email to Mercy at one point and said, you all really need to take me in because I don't know that I'll survive any longer if I'm not in this program. And so a little while after that, I did thankfully make it into Mercy. But yeah, that was a turning point. It was just like, it was either I was given this opportunity, I needed a space to get better, or I wasn't gonna make it. At the end of the day, it's always the choice that you make. You have a choice. And even at my lowest point, I even knew then I have to choose death or I can choose life. And so I came into Mercy very guarded and so unprepared to what God was about to do in my life. When I walked in through the doors of Mercy, I'm like, you're in now, you're in a safe space, you can't go back out there, so you're gonna fake it until you leave this place. When I did start to share my story more and more and started to be open up, I started having all these anxieties and fear, and I was like so scared. But the more that I shared, the more love that I got, the more support that I got. At one point I did go up and I started packing up my bags to just get out of here. And Mel was just like, well, where are you gonna go? And really that was the question, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna go back to? You know, and that kind of was just like that breaking point of just, you know, you leave here, there's nothing left out there. I really needed the foundation of who God was in my life first. And so learning that in Mercy of just who God is in my life has literally been the foundation. Life didn't stop happening after Mercy, but because Christ has been the foundation of my life, and understanding that the plans that God has for me is not plans to harm me or to bring disaster, but for hope in a future, is something that I've held on to. So being able to walk through this and really push through and graduating the program was one of my proudest moments, to be able to complete that. What's really important about my Mercy experience is that I had the support that I needed, and that's really what I value most about it. Being heard, being believed, being supported, those three things that I really needed and I really value. You can't experience freedom if you're not able to take off the mask and show what's behind it. And nobody got scared of what was behind the mask. They took it all in and they allowed me to experience that freedom that I really needed. I wouldn't be here. I don't think I would. I know that I wouldn't be alive had I not gone through Mercy.